kui sa sööksid toorest toitu, sa ainult kogu aeg sööksid toorest toitu, seediksid seda, laseksid puuks juba kogu aeg. Aga sööd liha ära, saad hakata mõtlema, kuidas Eiffeli torni teha.
All these people in the cube here, including me and everybody, we are vegan.
Yeah, I guessed it already, yeah.
So
Well, I actually think that it's probably actually my problem why people are so slow to go vegan, especially actually in developed countries where it's probably much easier, is because it's actually unnatural to human nature to not devour our creature, because as I said, it's almost all primates are predatory at some sort, and actually higher primates to which people belong are actually they are extremely predatory, and plus with that it's a cultural thing, because in northern countries are tend more towards eating meat and less towards eating vegetarian food for obvious reasons.
well, that's the way we have culturally evolved, right?
Yeah, it's actually a cultural thing, because now we can fix it, now it's possible, but it's still the thing of but that's still the backlash from more conservative minds.
But do you think that culture should dictate our actions? I mean, cultures have also changed throughout history. We used to think that slavery was okay, and then we thought women shouldn't have any rights. So about 100 years ago, so
I actually think that it should change, but we shouldn't I think that it's the thing of if we oppress conscious creatures, then it should be forced to change. But as long as it's actually we can see how culture changes and it improves lives of animals, because now this happens animals are vegetarianism grows in popularity, so culture already changes. So I think it's obviously the natural process. I'm not an oracle. I can't think. I don't know where it's going, but yeah.
Okay, so you feel it's a natural, it's a change that's happening now. That people are going more and more towards not consuming animal products and.
I'm not sure for sure that this tendency right now. I don't know if it will stick, because not all tendencies stick. Maybe yes, maybe no. It's too early to say, but really, if you think about it, the real huge changes all in all basically why we eventually abandoned slavery. Well, first of all, in Estonia never was slavery at all. There was
Well, there was the Estonians were under the control of the German landlords, and they had to pay them taxes.
It was sort of slavery, but I don't remember how it's in English.
They were serfs.
Yeah, so serve them. Yeah, serve them. Yeah, it's a little bit out of dream, but yeah. So why it was abandoned eventually? It wasn't because all these landlords was oh no, it's bad, we have to abandon it. Yeah, it was because it became economically it's become economically in how to say in it basically became bad. It was good to economics, then it became bad for economics. And the same actually thing with women, because before that most of people, but especially women, were not educated. But as education became more universal, it was basically became illogical to keep women from getting votes, because they basically became around the same level as men. So yeah, and of course first of all, women became able to campaign for that, and men became more obvious that there's no real reason to keep women from that. So, and of course, if it will become in any way profitable to stop eating animals, then yeah, tendency will continue growing and basically become the norm. But if it
do you want to know what are some of the really good reasons why it would be really good for us as a society to stop eating animal products now? One of the main reasons is the climate. Have you heard about how the animal agriculture impacts the climate?
I can guess that it's they probably produce some carbon dioxide that ups yeah, I know, yeah. But then the question of what happens to all the already bred animals. Like,
Well,
it means that you are doing them for extinction. Like cows are no more longer needed, then they are just all released, and in few generations, like cows is the second the most popular species in the world. Like if we are talking about like
yeah,
huge
but
creatures, and they will basically go extinct because they are not capable of surviving without human.
yeah, it's a really good question. I think a lot of people are really worried about that. But what we have to remember is that the world is not gonna go vegan like tomorrow, right? So
Of course,
all
yeah.
these animals are not just gonna die out. So as the need reduces, so will the breeding of the animals. And
So eventually they will die out.
yes, but well, maybe they won't die completely, but there will be like small places where they are somehow kept or bred. Because one thing we have to remember is that like cows as such, they are not like natural animals, right? Like we
Yeah,
have
they
bred
will-
them into existence anyway.
Yeah, like
So
maybe pigs can like be released and survive, but not cows.
well, I mean that is up to like the nature to determine. But I guess one of the good things would be that they would give other species more chance to live, because right now we have 45% of the land in total in the world we have under animal agriculture, and this means that there will be less and less habitat for other species. So right now we are facing one of the biggest mass extinction of species on this planet, like in 65 million years. So even if the cows and the pigs and their numbers were to reduce, it would just give more room
Okay,
for
but then-
versatility on the planet.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing, but actually, okay, that's probably a good thing, really. Yeah, that's probably a good thing. But then, do you think it's but then we are thinking about we are judging basically what animals deserve to exist and what not, and we are again okay, of course, it's logical that a few species, a few species to survive is less important than much more species to survive, but still we are judging it still we judging it again, just like we judge that animals deserve to be eaten, we judge that animals deserve to go extinct or not go extinct.
Well, but aren't we making that decision now anyway? And
Yeah, sort of.
this is the decision that we're making for them now. Is it more to their advantage? Because I mean, they are living quite miserable lives, right? Like they are
Yeah,
bred
like
into
in these farms,
existence.
yes, but I know. I mean, I heard that there were farms which with bad conditions, where they don't call crowded in a dark place with a lot of noise, but they actually have a bit more, 45% of land area.
Yeah, but I mean, have you ever seen any of those farms actually?
Good, better farms.
Yes, have you ever seen any better farms?
Actually, in person, I haven't seen any farms in person, but I remember something. Of course, they are probably not as, unfortunately, not as prominent as maybe probably more efficient, but producing worse meat these farms. But yeah, I actually do believe that they exist. I actually, I remember. I unfortunately don't remember where and when, but I remember that I saw something, not in person.
Okay, so basically, all the meat that we get in supermarkets is most probably produced in these really miserable conditions.
Yeah.
What do you think about the humans that are they have some kind of brain damage or something like this? What they are never gonna get over it. So, do we have the right to treat them like this?
Well, it's also a question. Well, first of all, I'm not sure that there are brain damages that actually turn off all conscious thinking. But if they are, then I think it's actually a question. It's of course it is sort of we feel it's wrong because they are humans, but if they don't really, they don't comprehend themselves as themselves. They don't think about them as a person, but as they just exist. Then, well, of course, it's hard to say because it sounds very immoral, but I think it's more of a question of do their environment think that it's more okay? Treatment this cruel treatment of animals, even in farms, yeah, it's bad, but it's but I really think that even if person really is like only capable of thinking on level of animal, I start the question of which animal, because pigs are closer in their abilities of brain, like much closer to human than to cows. Yeah, because like cows, if I'm not mistaken, are actually pretty dumb. But okay, not important. So yeah, if person is like only capable of thinking on this level, then yeah, it's maybe actually like it's probably not it's probably already not question of all society to decide, but mostly of like those who are like, if he's not able to think that there are some people who are like take care of him, obviously, yeah. And maybe it's not their question. Of course, it's another thing that, if he's being taken care of, then the one who take care of him, like because of moral like compass, they will not harm him because like they think that he worth more than an animal. But in fact, actually, he's probably like the same as animal.
Loomi kasutatakse halvasti meie keskkonnas, eks ju.
No jah, ma olen näinud küll jah telekas nii palju, et on väga halvasti nagu kasutatakse neid, et jäetud nagu nälga ja noh.
Noh, mis me ise saame ära teha, on see, et me sööme ise rohkem taimi selle võrra. Et siis, kui me sööme vähem loomi, siis loomad ei kannata selle pärast. Aga kuidas te ise toitute, mis teile maitseb?
Liha suhtes või?
Jaa.
No see on suht vähe, kui ma liha söön.
Aga kas teile näiteks oad maitsevad?
Maitsevad.
Ja, no võt, siis on liha asemel saab näiteks süüa ube.
Ja, ma tean.
Ja, et siis on samamoodi saab kõik toitained kätte ja loomad ei pea kannatama selle pärast. Et see on selline hea variant. Ja, saab köögivilju, saab riisi.
Kunagi ja sõin nagu olin taimetoitlane, aga nüüd viimasel ajal nagu hakkasin nagu sööma nagu rasvustoitu, et noh.
Aha, aga mis siis jäi puudu? Või miks te...
No ma ei tea, et noh, see on juba vanus on selline, et noh, see ka ja.
Aga öeldakse just, et vanusega peaks natuke vähendama liha tarbimist, et siis muidu hakkab tervise peale just vastupidi. Tere! Kas te olete varem näinud selliseid videosid?
Ei, küll jah.
Jaa.
No aga on ju soe ka, ütleme, elad Põhjanabal, siis ikka lööd jääkaru maha, siis on soe tema kasuka sees olla. Mis te selle kohta kostate?
Ei, aga me ei ela vist siin Põhjanabal päris.
Nagu kui elaks?
No ma arvan, et tänapäeva kultuuris on nagu palju teisi variante ka. Et te arvate, et see nagu...
Te värvi ei loobi ju.
Ei, aga mis te ise arvate sellest teemast?
Puudub ühine vastus.
Et me siin näiteks üks teema, millest me räägime, on karusloomafarmid. Et ja karusnahk tegelikult on selline nagu luksuskaup.
Just üks käisin poes, vaatasin, et lambanahad väga põnusad. Aga need on ilmselt, lammas on ära söödud, eks ole, ja nahkiperel, ega nahka ära viska. Et see on ju hea nahk ometigi ju. See ei ole paha nahk.
Aga põhimõtteliselt meil see nagu eluliselt vajalik ei ole.
Aga lambaliha lihtsalt naha all see söödi ära, see on eluliselt vajalik.
Arvad, et lambaliha on eluliselt vajalik?
Ilma liha söömiseta ei saa, mina kujutan ette.
Aga mis teie meelest on see, mis lihas nagu puudu jääb?
Kas me läheme taimetoidu peale?
No me võime minna taimetoidu peale.
Ei, me lähe taimetoidu peale. Mul on siiamaani hommikusöögis natuke liha hammaste vahel, et
aga miks te arvate, et liha söömine on ilmtingimata vaja?
Liha söömisest räägime nagu karusnahast, on ju?
No,
Et kui ma söön liha ära sealt alt, siis see nahk on ju jäänus, see on ju jäätmekäitlus. Ma ei viska seda ära, vaid tõmban selga. See on ju hea ametigi.
aga te siis nagu väidate põhimõtteliselt seda, et see, et me soovime seda luksuskaupa, et see, et
Kui looma pidada ainult kasuka pärast, siis ei ole muidugi õige, aga kui ma söön selle liha ära, siis see on täiesti õige. Seepärast ma ütlesingi,
nii, et teie meelest nagu lambanahk on okei, aga karusnahk ei ole siis okei.
Kui ma söön selle hõberebase ära.
Aga kas te sööte selle
Ei. Et seepärast ma ütlengi, et ei ole ühest vastust, et kui ma ei söö hõberebast, siis ei ole vaja teda tappa kasuka pärast.
Nii et ütleme siis, et karusloomafarme...
Siga, seast saab teha vurriluu, eks ole. Et kui ma teen seast vurriluu, siis nahk jääb järele ja teen seanahast midagi kasulikku ja sealiha sööd ikka, eks ole. Jõuluajal kõik söövad ju siga.
Jaa, aga
ütleme, seast jäävad järele harjased, sõrad, vurriluu. Ei viska.
Aga selles mõttes, et kui meil ei oleks eluks vaja üleüldse liha tarbida?
On.
Ja, aga mis te arvate, et mis lihas siis nagu sellist on, et...
Ei, ärme siin lähemes lihas sellist on. Lihas on väga olulised asjad. Et me räägime praegu nahast.
No, okei. Aga mina teiega nagu kuidagi moodi vaielda ei taha, et selleks ma siin ei ole, eks ju.
Just.
Aga selles mõttes, et
me oleme tutvustanud üksteisele oma seisukohti ja see ongi see, mis teeb inimkonnast parem, on ju.
Aga mis oleks see lahendus teie jaoks, et sellist ekspluateerimist
et kanname kasukad ainult neid loomadelt, kelle me oleme enne ära söönud.
Ahah. Okei, väga huvitav seisukoht. Sellise seisukohaga.
Kasvatada looma on sellepärast, et nahk võtta see on raiskamine. Aga kui ma söön sea ära ja panen seanaha selga, siis on ökoloogiline mõtteviis. Ja sealihata me ei saa elada. Mõelda kõik eestlased häistavad jõulud, suured sealiha.
Aga mina ütlen, et see on selline kultuurile... Mina tegin läätsedest näiteks omale...
Lääts on... ärme lähe nüüd sinna maitse teemasse. Hästi igav söök.
Jaa, aga liha muutub ka...
Mõned noa sisse, natukene paned ketšupit
peale. Jaa, aga liha muutub ka maitsvaks siis, kui teda maitsestada nagu millegi järgi. Liha muutub ka maitsvaks siis, kui seda...
Liha praed juba, küpsetad ära. Siis ta muutub inimesel kergemani omandatavaks. Ja on ka maitsvam, absoluutselt automaatselt. Seepärast ongi hea liha süüa. Kui sa sööksid toorest toitu, sa ainult kogu aeg sööksid toorest toitu, seediksid seda, laskiksid puuks ju kogu aeg. Aga sööd liha ära, saad hakata mõtlema, kuidas Eiffeli torni teha.
Okei, aga minu jaoks näiteks, ma väga ma ei ole siia vaidlema, ma ei taha nagu vaielda. Minu jaoks on probleem see, et eestlastest, eks ju näiteks absoluutselt kõik, juba lapsest peale, eks ju, põhimõtteliselt alla 10-aastastel hakkavad juba arteritesse tekkima, eks ju, rasvatriibud. See on sellest kolesteroolist, mida me toiduga saame. Aga kultuurides, kus nagu rasva või sellised loomsed rasva tarbitakse väga-väga minimaalselt, üleüldse ei kujune välja.
Liigutada tuleb ennast.
Jaa, aga sa võid liigutada ükskõik kui palju.
Et ses mõttes mul oli väga meeldi teiega vestelda, tutvustada teile oma seisukohti ja kuulda teie seisukohti.
Ei, mul oli ka väga meeldiv, et väga huvitav kindlasti.
Nii, siis kõike head.
Kõike head. Teate, aga ma annan teile sellise raamatu. Siit saate natuke leida veel. Siin on retsepte ja siis on kirjas, mida võiks süüa. Erinevad. Et selline taldrik on, et kui te soovite süüa rohkem taimetoitu, siis võiks olla puuvilju ja teravilju, kaunvilju ja köögivilju. Natuke on pähkleid ja seemneid. Ja näete, siin tagapool on retseptid. Et proovige midagi järgi. Et siin on selline, võite juba kas või täna teha. et üks purk ühesuguseid ube, siis on teistsuguseid ube
okei.
ja maisi on natuke, paprikat saate panna. Et siin on sellised retseptid. Et siis võib-olla saate jälle raja peale proovida seda taimetoitlust uuesti. Ja.
Võib-olla jah. Püüan, proovin.
Ja noh, siis on, ongi, see on loomadele parem, see on keskkonnale parem. Nii palju ei kahjusta loodust, kui te sööte rohkem taimi, sellepärast, et
Naised jah, võivad küll taime süüa, aga kuidas mehed siis selle üle elavad?
no,
Mehed ju söövad rohkem liha ju.
No söövad küll, aga eks nende tervisele on ka kasulikum, kui nad sööksid rohkem.
No ma ei tea. Nad ei ela seda üle, kui nad ei saa liha kätte.
No see on selline rohkem kultuuriline asi, et me oleme harjunud selle mõttega, et mehed söövad rohkem liha. Aga tegelikult meie kõigi organism ju toimub samamoodi. Et meestel on seal südameprobleemid, meestel on samamoodi vähktõbe tekitab igasugune loomne toit. Et see on kehale raske. Et meestele on samamoodi on tervislikum. Aga teil on endal mees või keegi, kelle pärast muretsete ja temale ei meeldi siis see?
No tal on ka kahju sellest loomadest, aga et ikkagi ta ei ela ilma lihata, ta peab ikka lihast saama, et sellest pärast.
Aga siis teete ise kodus süüa, teete taimetoitu, see ei ütle talle, et ei pane liha sisse. Küll ta selle ära sööb.
Küll ta märkab.
Ja. Ei, siis võib-olla saate vaadata seda koos, seda raamatut ka. Ja võib-olla otsustate, siis see on teile endale ka tervisele ja on parem. Et kui te juba nii muretsete mõlemad tegelikult selle pärast, keegi ei taha ju loomadele midagi halba teha, nii et ja korra te juba hakkasite taimetoitlaseks, nii et nüüd võib-olla veel.
Okei.
Olgu.
Varsti bussi peale.
Ja, suur tänu teie, aga proovige neid retsepte. Proovige.
Kas on võimalik elada nii, et ei tarbi loomseid tooteid?
See on väga raske. Ma ei tea, näiteks mõnedele inimestele võib-olla kergem, ma ei tea.
Et näiteks ma ise olen olnud 8 aastat vegan ja kõik need inimesed, kes siin Kuubikus on ka tegelikult juba pikemat aega, et selles mõttes, et muidugi seal võib alguses tekkida, võib-olla kui sa ei tea täpselt, et mida süüa, mida sa kuidas sa saad asendada neid loomseid asju, et näiteks, seda ei ole siin praegult, aga et üks siuke leht on näiteks nutritionfacts.org ja sealt saab hästi palju et sealt saab hästi palju informatsiooni just selle toitumise osa kohta, et kuidas seda asendada ja siis seal Facebookis on see Eesti veganite grupp.
Ja ma olen selles grupis.
Ja, et sa võid näiteks sealt küsida abi.